Test. Test.
cards, and he had to, why bring them? Then it stopped. It stopped. Poor Tom.
Weather, unpredictable.
Huh? Maria? Tom, you made it, man. Short, sweet.
Hey, Tom.
How you doing? Okay, you ready?
Yes.
Call the roll, please.
Mayor Bain,
I'm here.
Vice Mayor Best,
Present.
Councilwoman Mitchell,
Here.
Councilwoman Zapata,
Here.
Councilman Petrolanda.
Here.
Okay, invocation, please stand. Vice Mayor Best.
God of us all, please be with us in chambers tonight as we represent the people of this town. Please give us the knowledge, the wisdom, and the veracity, and the wantedness to perform the business of the city for the best interest of all residents. In your name, amen.
Okay, we have the Girl Scouts to come up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Come on up. You're going to face this way. The flag's right here. Face this way. Right hand over your chest. This way. This way. Right hand over your chest. All right, somebody say aye. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, stay there. I'm supposed to come around now.
Hey, you guys. Hey, you guys. Come see her after the meeting. She wants to show you.
Want to take your photo? 1 second.
Yeah, I'm new at this a little bit. I haven't done this in 5 years, 6
Maria.
years. Come back a little bit. I wanted you to say your name.
Maria.
Well, wait, name and what grade you're in. Okay?
First grade.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm Maria and I'm in first grade.
Okay.
I'm Zoya and I'm in first grade.
I'm Angelina and I'm fourth grade.
I'm Alessa and I'm in fourth grade. I'm Isabella and I'm in first grade. I'm Isabel and I'm in first grade.
I'm Isabella and I'm in fifth grade.
Oh, I should ask, are you all from the same troop?
I'm Alexandra and I'm from third grade.
I'm Lexi and I'm from fourth grade.
What troop is this?
Wait, what?
What troop are you?
What? 564.
Yeah, I caught you, huh? I caught you. Your name, where you out, what grade?
Lindsay and I'm in third grade.
Third grade.
Lily and I'm in second grade. Esther and I'm in second grade.
Second grade?
Sophia and I'm in second grade.
Okay, good job. I want to give them all a nice hand for a good job. I have some pins to hand out, so we'll go take a picture. Okay, here, I want to give everybody a pin. You get a pin, you can go down to your parents. Pin for you. A pin for you. You.
It would be against the rules, though. Put it on their sash.
A lot easier when you're on this side than it is when you have to do it.
Pin for you. For you. For you. For you.
No, don't tell me. Oh,
We're here.
Thank you.
oh, North Carolina? I thought you were going to tell me, John.
It's like the entire room.
Oh my gosh.
Did you hear this, Tommy?
He's got AR and he's got Michael. It was Michael's two boys that were in the car.
When did you hear this?
7:30 this morning, Karen Rhodes called.
Do y'all meet the?
When did it happen? This
Are you the
morning?
troop that meets? They took
That
you
was
for
very
one.
nice of her to do that.
Oh.
I used to do that with my brothers.
How old?
We got to get something better than
Nice to
pins.
see you.
Nice lollipops. Erica, some lollipops maybe or
Okay.
something.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So I think some Red Sox hats.
No, cookies.
Yeah, cookies.
Okay, we have number 3. We have first of all, we have a presentation from Yasa Pump Station Project for the golf course. Did I say it right? Wasa.
Wasa.
Yasa. Yasa is. Oh, that's what I do in my business.
Yes,
a
Mayor and
that's a
Council, I'd like
that's
to
European
introduce,
FAA.
Mr. Lester Sola, Director of Miami-Dade Water and Sewer,
Oh my gosh.
along with his staff, will do a presentation on a project they're doing that's going to start pretty soon on all of the pump stations, not only in the golf course, but citywide.
Wasa.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council, Mr. Manager. My name is Lester Sola. I'm the Director of Miami-Dade County's Water and Sewer Department. I want to thank you first and foremost for the opportunity to come before you. I recognize a lot of faces and names from my past in Miami-Dade County's other departments, as well as some new names that represent your board. And I want to give you a briefing on the projects that we have going on, not just in the city of Miami Springs, but also throughout the county. Oftentimes there's been information in whether it be in the Herald or in TV about the aged infrastructure. And Miami-Dade County, through the mayor and the Board of County Commissioners, have supported a capital program in the neighborhood of around $13 billion, really improving the water and wastewater systems throughout the county. And we are making a significant investment in water and wastewater because obviously of the importance of water, but also in being able to treat wastewater and making sure that the county's wastewater system continues to produce at the level that is required so that we can continue to have economic growth throughout this county and we don't have any issues with the environment. Commissioner Sosa from our Board of County Commissioners had requested that we go, as part of our practice, when we're doing projects in cities, that we come to their council or to the city commission and give them an update as to the projects and obviously give you some information, so just in case you get any phone calls either through the administration or through your legislative body, so that you have some information as to the projects that are going on, but more importantly, the commitment that the county has in the partnership in developing a good working relationship with not just the residents, but really with the legislative bodies for each of those cities. The project that we're here to speak to you about today is really one that has been in the works for quite some time. We're finally ready to begin construction, and it really involves the redoing or the basically reconstituting, reestablishing wells that we have throughout the county. Your project is primarily 20 well pumps stations throughout your city. Some of them are in the golf course, others are in residential areas. In total, there's total 20. The good news is that there's 3 that are in the residential areas that we are completely abandoning and eliminating. So we believe it'll be a good move for the department in eliminating those pump stations and really having what could be viewed as an eyesore in the residential neighborhoods of removing them completely. So our part of our project is to eliminate those 3 and rebuild the 17 pump stations throughout the city. It is important to note that we're not just going to rebuild the pump stations the same way as they are right now. A big component of our projects, of our capital projects, is not just going and re-engineering and building the same system that we have right now, but we're also instituting beautification efforts. So whether you're seeing a pump station throughout the county, if it's being redone, we want to make sure that it aesthetically meets and blends in well with the community. And we're also doing landscaping to those pump stations to make sure that we eliminate the possibilities of having eyesores. And that commitment is ongoing regardless of whether it's in the city of Miami Springs or any other city or any other projects that are unincorporated in Miami-Dade County. We want to make sure that we are viewed as good partners, and that if we were living across one of those pump stations, that we would see that the county was in fact making an investment and not just making sure that we are providing the residents with water and wastewater services, but more importantly, that we are blending into that community and really providing an opportunity to fix things, not just on the way of how they are engineered, but more importantly, how they look and how they blend and participate with the community. The projects are scheduled to begin later on this summer. The majority of them are, a good portion, I should say, are in the golf course. We've been working very closely with the golf course to make sure that we disrupt as little as possible those pumps, the public as when they're going out to play golf. We are focusing on one pump station at a time, and along with the outreach that we will be doing, our program and our plans is to eliminate or mitigate disruption to whether it be at the golf course or even on the right-of-ways, so that the flow of traffic continues, and more importantly, it is as little as an impact as possible to the residents of your city. If you have any questions going forward, we do have an outreach community section, and we're more than happy to provide that information to you, Mr. Manager, so that if you have any questions from your residents or if you want to provide any information, we can do it as a partnership together in communicating with the neighboring residents that are being impacted as we're rebuilding a pump station. So I offer that for you tonight. If you want additional information, we'd be more than happy to establish meetings either at your governing meetings or even at community centers. We're willing and able to do so.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Sure. Any questions from the dais?
Yeah, through the chair. Lester, thanks for being here tonight. We appreciate the presentation. This has been planned for a while. I mean, we heard something on this some time back. The purpose of this is retrofitting of new pumps. Is that correct?
Councilman, what happens is that these pump stations were originally built in the 1920s, and some of them in the 40s, and they're, quite frankly, the life cycle has run out on them. And in order to improve the pump station, not just rebuilding and putting new pumps themselves, we have to reconstitute the well itself. So the well going underground, but more importantly, we'll also have newer technology in the pumps so that they'll be quieter when they're running as well too. So it is time for us to make that reinvestment in those 20 pump stations, those 17 that will remain. And absent doing so, we become very inefficient in the way we're able to manage the water that's flowing that we're drawing from the aquifer.
Will you be staying with the same size that you currently occupy, or will you be making these larger?
I have some members of my staff. It really depends on which pump itself, but in general, Dr. Walsh?
Yeah, we've already videoed all the wells, and
Come to the microphone, please, man.
we've already gone through and did a video surveys and inspected all of the production wells that we're referring to in the project here. And so based upon the video inspections and the physical inspection of the wells, most of those are going to be abandoned and re-drilled to a more up-to-date design, shall we say, with materials and whatnot. And this will ensure that these wells are going to be going forward for the next 50 years or so. So they're going to be a little bit, Jim, what's the exact dimensions on the wells? I can't remember off the top of my head, but they're very similar in size to the existing wells, but because of the new boreholes that we're going to be drilling and everything that we're going to be doing drilling the wells, they'll be more efficient at producing water from the aquifer.
And they will be larger, correct?
Not larger wells per se, but because they'll be more efficient, they'll be able to produce more water from the aquifer per well. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have a list of the new wells, where they're going to be placed?
Well, the wells, the ones that are marked in red are the ones that we're eliminating. We're not building any new wells. We're just rebuilding the existing well. So we're going to basically improve the same location where it's at right now.
Okay.
So it's basically you have 20 within the boundaries of Miami Springs. We're going to eliminate 3 of them, and those are the red numbers.
We see them.
In residential areas, and everything in yellow within the city boundaries are the ones that are being rebuilt.
Okay. How long would this
The 3
take?
that will be abandoned are the ones we discussed over by the clay pit area, right? Yes. Yeah. There are a total of 8 in the golf course and 9
Throughout the
in the
city.
throughout the city.
How long is this project going to take?
We're hoping to start this summer with the
Right.
actual construction, and since we're doing it one by one, so to minimize disruption, it could be up to 2 to 3 years.
2 to 3 years.
Yes.
So when you talk about disruptions, are we going to have water disruptions?
No. What I'm saying disruption is if, for example, the golf course, we would have to have a plan to get our equipment into where the pump station is, right? Not have disruption so that the golf course can continue to be open. And be able to do our work in a confined area, focus all the efforts at that one pump completely, finish it, and then move on to the next one. If we're in the residential areas or in the commercial areas, we would focus on this as little disruption being with the basically maintenance of traffic. We want to make sure that the traffic is not a hindrance. So we would focus all of our attention in one pump station, finish that one pump station, rather than doing all 17 pump stations at the same time and having that disruption all going on at the same time throughout the city.
I'm sorry, you said 10 years or 3 years?
3 years, up to 3 years.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have
I
here.
have a question. So if I'm a resident and I have one of these near me, what can the residents expect in terms of disruption for them?
Well, disruption for them would be if the construction going on during the
Right.
during the time period. It would be during regular working hours. We're not doing anything at night. And our efforts, it's going on right now in other cities. The city of Miami, we're doing a large project on Shenandoah and rebuilding their sewer lines and water lines. And while there is a traffic disruption, if you will, you have to make sure that you cordon off the area for safety, so the kids can't go into anything that you're dealing with. Really, with construction, it's not just the maintenance of the traffic, but also you have to cordon off the area so that people aren't going into the pump station. The good thing about that we're focusing here about our project is if we were to hire a contractor, oftentimes they'll do by series, so they'll do all the same work throughout the pump station. We're trying to focus in on doing one pump station at a time, so that we can minimize that impact and get in there quickly, get out of there as soon as possible, and move on to the next one.
They'll see a drill rig out there.
Right.
So they'll be seeing the drilling crews, and we'll do the maintenance of traffic to make sure that traffic is flowing around the drill site and stuff, but it will not block off streets, and we're not ripping up streets. Then they'll see the demolition of the well houses, and then the reconstruction of the well houses and the landscaping.
What's your thought about how long it'll take to drill one well and finish it?
These are Biscayne aquifer wells, so in lieu of any unforeseen circumstances, these are pretty quick wells to get into the ground because they're only going down about 80, 90 feet in total. So the actual well, the drilling of the well is going to be fairly quickly. The cementing in and the casing of the wells all should be done within a couple of days for each well, and then the construction of the well house and all that is scheduled after that.
I got you. Okay.
Mayor. Well, first of all, I just mentioned to Mr. Sola that this afternoon we had a representative from Water and Sewer, Patrick Martin, at the Women's Club for our conservation program, and he gave a great overview of how to conserve water, residents doing a little bit on their part, but also the challenges that Water and Sewer is facing, the issues that that it has providing water for our huge community. And the challenges that it's facing. So this is really timely. It's interesting to have this. But I wanted to ask you specifically, I'm looking at MS 23. I know that one is in front of a house, and that's one of the ones you're removing, right?
Right.
So what happens to that property? Because right now it's actually in front of a house, right? What you'll be demolishing that pump station?
Abandoning the well, so what will be left behind is that well will be cemented in place. We'll demolish the well house. Everything will be re-landscaped to grade and re-landscaped. And we're, open to whatever, landscaping that the neighbors would like to see.
And that property belongs to Water and Sewer then? That
It's an easement.
I think it's an easement property.
okay.
It's ours. It's our water. It's our soil.
Okay.
So when we finish like it's here, it'll just be
Complete.
completely level to ground.
Okay, and you won't even notice that the pump. That's great because those are sightly. And as far as the, and you had 20 pumps and you're going down to 17, right?
We're abandoning
Those three.
Okay, so there's going to be more pull on the other 17? Then how does that work? How do you?
No, because these wells are being re-drilled and more efficient.
Mm-hmm. So it's a whole new system. You're just right. Okay.
We're just being able to pull the same amount of water, but from fewer wells.
Okay.
So it'll be more efficient for us, so we don't have to have 20 pumps out there pumping. We'll be able to narrow that down to 17, but getting the same amount of water out because it'll be more efficient.
Do you expect that any of that will have any changes on? I know a lot of our houses are in lakes, and it seems like depending on how much water is being pumped, the levels of the lakes go up and down. Do you expect that this new? Okay, thank you.
Okay, can I add something?
Sure.
I just, I'm just hoping, I'm sure the city will, that the residents are going to be given notice in terms of before this starts happening, and that they should be given notice as to how long the inconvenience of seeing something like come down that structure and put it back up, that'll be coordinated with the city and the residents will receive the information.
Sure.
Okay,
We'll certainly do that.
thank you.
Anything else? Thank you. Maybe you
you,
could
Mr.
turn
Mayor.
them around and the camera can get a picture for the resident. What's going to happen if you get a close up on the areas. The red areas are going to be removed. The yellow areas are going to be replaced. You got it over there? Okay? Okay. Thank you. Thank you. You can leave the easels if you want. We can always use extra stuff from the county.
Stop.
They're nice easels, you know, instead of wooden ones we have. Tried. Okay, we go to open forum. We have nobody signed up to speak on the open forum or on an agenda item.
No videos?
Huh?
No videos?
I haven't had any report to no videos. Nobody told me anything. But if you want to make one, you're welcome to it. Okay. We go to approval of council minutes, 5A. That's April 17, 2017, special meeting, and 5B, April 17, 2017, regular council meeting. I'll entertain a motion.
Through the chair, a motion to move 5A and 5B, sir.
Second.
Okay, call the roll, please.
Vice Mayor Best?
Aye.
Councilwoman Mitchell? Councilwoman Zapata?
Yes.
Councilman Petrolanda?
Yes.
Mayor Bain?
Yes. We go on to 6, boards and commissions. We have none. Public hearings, none. Consent agenda, we're not spending any money there today, none. Old business, none. And then we start new business. We have 10A, a resolution.
Yes, this is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Miami Springs amending the schedule of golf charges and fees for the operation of the Miami Springs Golf and Country Club, reserving the right and authority to amend or supplement the schedule of charges effective date. This is just the annual change that Paul has for the summer golf rates effective May 1st, 2017. And Paul is here if you have any specific questions on any of the charges.
I have none. I went over this. It's basically the same as
Same
we've seen
thing.
before.
Yeah.
And it's just because the summer rates are going down because of less play. So I entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
Motion to approve the resolution?
Second.
Call the vote, please.
Vice Mayor Best?
Aye.
Councilwoman Mitchell? Yes. Councilman Zapata?
Yes.
Councilman Petrolanda?
Yes.
Mayor Bain?
Yes. We have a resolution, 10B.
10B is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Miami Springs providing for the third budget amendment to the fiscal year 2016-17 budget by increasing the general fund budget to record various tornado damage expenditures to be reimbursed by the city's insurance carrier, and recording transfers from fund balance, providing for intent, specifying compliance with budgetary processes and procedures, and providing for an effective date. This, again, is a budget amendment for the expenses we incurred during the January tornado. And as I mentioned before, over 100,000 of it will be reimbursed by insurance. So you'll see in the budget amendment that you'll have a revenue section and an expense section, and that's basically what it covers. There's only about a little over $5,000 that wasn't covered by insurance.
Well, you know, on the Exhibit A, why don't you read the last three items for the reimbursement and the you know, the
Okay, item number 1, record $44,342 in repairs of tornado-damaged sidewalks, as well as PB Dove repairs to be reimbursed by insurance. Item number 2, record $5,526 for field repairs at PB Dove from fund balance, since insurance does not cover this item. And third, record $62,703 for replacement playground at PB Dove Park to be reimbursed by insurance.
I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes. William, do you foresee our rates going up because of these claims? And I know we didn't ask for the tornado, but...
I seriously doubt it, because we haven't had a claim like this for years with them. And since this is a pool, it's a Florida league, and it's a shared loss type of thing, I don't see any rates going up.
All right, thank you.
Okay, we go to a 10C, request from Councilwoman. I missed something?
Call a vote.
Oh, call a vote.
Call a vote.
Vice Mayor Best?
Aye.
Councilman Mitchell? Yes. Councilwoman Zapata?
Yes.
Councilman Petrolanda?
Yes.
Mayor Bay?
Yes. Thank you. 10C, request from Councilwoman Mitchell.
Yes, Mayor and Council, attaching your packet is an email I received from Councilwoman Mitchell requesting an agenda item so that Council may discuss the scheduling of a workshop to discuss the status of current boards. And if you'll see in her email, she's referring to there are some boards that haven't met for a couple of years. So I guess at this point tonight, it's just whether council wants to set up a date for a workshop or do it at a regular council meeting.
It's your item, yeah.
Yes. What I suggest is that we meet, in looking over the boards, finding out, I forget how many number of boards we have, but there are a lot of boards. Some of them have been there for 30 or more years. It looks like they're scheduled to meet monthly, but in asking how often they're actually meeting, some of them haven't met in years. Some of them are only meeting quarterly. I don't see how any board can get any work done meeting quarterly. But the reason that they're meeting quarterly is because apparently there doesn't seem to be much business for them to discuss. They're not being given business from the council, and other issues aren't arising. So my suggestion is that we have a workshop to discuss the boards that the city currently has, find out it may be that some of the boards are obsolete and we don't need them anymore, and there may be new boards that should be formed. I don't know. I think we need to, more than just at a city council meeting, is really spend some time talking to members in the boards and finding out what their ideas are, and then reevaluating the advisory boards and deciding what new boards we need, how frequently they should meet.
The reason that this was put in, I don't know how, we don't have the information. This is to see if we want to do a workshop or a agenda item. But the reason that some of this was done this way is because the boards, because of the cost of the board's meeting, there are a lot of times not much of agenda, but we had to bring in staff and different things to come in and do it. So I don't remember when it was done, before I left or after I left or after I came back. We decided to use the boards as request. In other words, if an issue came up here, then we would put the board into action, sort of like the board that oversees the handicap situation. See, there's money to be spent. Disability board.
Disability advisory.
If there's money to be spent, Mr. Nash will call them, and then they have a meeting. And so that's what it was. But I'm going to state that I don't want to have I would not think we need a workshop meeting. I think we could do it as an agenda item.
I think the boards serve an important purpose for the city. It gives residents who are interested in specific topics a way to participate in issues that are important to them. So there's certain boards that I think it's reasonable for the city to have them in place. If there aren't agenda items for them to discuss, then we probably need to reevaluate which boards are no longer necessary, but I'm guessing that there are other boards that we should have in place. Having boards also provides us on the council, it gives us, does some of the legwork for us. It gives us information on issues that are occurring in the community. And
Mayor,
Yeah, your mic.
oh, sorry.
Push your-
Oh, maybe I'm not close.
Mayor, I'm sorry, you're done? Sure. You're done? All right. I think we did it, Mayor, when George Loeb and Michael Windrum were here, and you're right. The reason we did it was because of the funding aspect of it. To Councilwoman Mitchell, I had a resident that came up to me over the weekend that he suggested that we start a new board, the annexation board. So there is room to grow new boards and get rid of some old boards. Now, do we need to do it in a workshop? That's kind of the question that I have myself. We can probably do this during just a regular meeting. I'm not sure what is it that you want to do that we need to do a workshop for.
I'd like to give us time, the city council, to meet with residents, particularly the ones that are on the current boards, and get input from them as to what they feel, how functional they think the boards are, their suggestions, and give us a little, before we make it as an agenda item on the city, is have some conversation between us, so that when we decide what boards, we think we should have, we come prepared to a city council meeting to adopt them.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Are we done? So I think the point Councilwoman Mitchell brings up is an important one. Having served on boards and boards that meet quarterly, and these are boards that are supposed to support, for example, education in our community, code enforcement. All of those boards have very important tasks within our community. And going around in the community when I was canvassing for the seat, it provides a voice to people in the community, and some of them feel that, I'm not saying that they don't have a voice, but some of them feel that they don't. And the reality is that those boards are for them, and we're here to represent them, the residents in this community. There are boards that are very important, and they're not meeting as often as they should. I think that we as council need to have the minutes of those meetings so that we know exactly what is discussed in those meetings, because they are there to advise us. And so I mean, there's issues in this community that are extremely important, and those boards bring them to our attention. We can't be everywhere. So I'm in favor of a workshop and not just an agenda. I think that we need to give the opportunity to show in good faith to the community that we're here to listen to what they have to say in terms of those boards and the needs that the community feels that those boards meet.
Through the chair, to speak to this point, there are probably 3 or 4 of these boards which I feel are not ministerial in operation. Adjustment, education, code enforcement, maybe rec. Typically, and I wasn't on council when the decision was made to eliminate the monthly meetings, but I can understand the economics of that. I can also understand the point that's being made up here tonight. I don't know that we would require a complete meeting to do this, but I do agree that we should do our homework and find out where we're at with this, and I think we could knock this out in 30 minutes. I don't see a separate meeting required to do this. There's not many that are really that questionable as far as continuing or not. Some, like I say, haven't met in, 6-8 months? Has disability ever met, William?
Yeah.
They meet basically once a year when we get the money from the parking fines.
Right.
And,
but, Parks and Parkways, Ecology Board, Architectural Review hasn't met for forever and a day. I know.
I got from
Code review.
I got a list from Juan of
William, if I could finish just for a second, if you would agree with this, that we could allow William to do the research and the clerk in terms of who's met and how often for like the last 12 months or 2 years, if you want to go back that long, and shoot us that information. Let us allow to do the homework relative to talking to the residents and the members of the board who are our appointees, by the way, and take it from there. I don't know that to call a special. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out for discussion.
I believe that several of the boards that we have are required. So there are certain boards that we're going to have to keep no matter what.
Right.
But if a board hasn't met in years and it's not required, there's no reason for that board. That doesn't mean that there isn't a reason to have other boards, but that board is obviously not serving its function. The other thing is that if a board is only meeting because we have budgetary shortfalls, and so we're telling the board members that they can only meet quarterly, there's no realistic way that they can get any work done quarterly. Too many things happen in between, 3 or 4 months. So again, we probably, if a board is needed, but because of budgetary issues, we're asking them to meet quarterly, we need to reconsider that. They need to be able to meet more often to tackle issues. If the reason that they're not meeting is because they're not getting agenda items from the city council, my understanding is a lot of boards shouldn't be operating just waiting for agenda items from the city council. They should be have the ability to come up with their own issues and
proactive.
recommendations. Exactly, and that's a part of the way that they reach us with their information and provide valuable input to us.
I will agree with you that the idea of doing this is I'm perfectly in accord with that. I just don't know that it requires a separate meeting to do it. So I'm in favor of discussing it. I don't know, the next meeting or 2 meetings from now, whatever you guys want, whatever you think, to allow us time to.
I'd like to add something.
Sure.
Just a perfect example of an important board that we don't. I don't think the council really hears from. The Education Advisory Board meets quarterly, and when you have a school year that is 10 months, that means that we don't get to really know anything that's happening in our schools of value, nor do we get to create a youth advisory council of students that come together at all the levels and are part of this community. So that in itself is a problem. I also don't think, and correct me if I'm wrong, that these boards the council receives minutes from these boards, do they?
Yes.
Do we receive minutes from all of the
Yeah,
boards?
I read them all too.
Because I attended city council meetings in the past and never saw minutes from the Educational Advisory Board. I was always concerned about that.
That's not true.
We get them.
We always.
I read them. I know.
But I mean, it's like the Education Advisory Board. The purpose of the Education Advisory Board is to basically oversee what they're doing as far as what's going on in the schools and so on. But in reality, the school district, Susie Castillo and the board on the edge the board has the powers over what happens in education. The only thing that could come from Miami Springs, for sure, we paid our tax dollars to the situation. I don't know what over and above situation that our responsibility is, but to oversee and maybe possibly question any program that's coming up.
Well, that board is a compact between Miami-Dade County Public Schools and the city.
Yeah.
And right now, that needs to be rewritten and revised because it no longer serves the purpose it was supposed to serve initially. And the school district is represented at those meetings, which now happen quarterly, and they were in favor of working with the city to do that. But we can't do that if we meet quarterly.
Oh, but Councilwoman Zapata, I was here when we kind of started changing these things, and that board, I remember, since we were off during the summer, we were allowing them to meet monthly, right, William? Correct? Mm-hmm. Because towards we have a lot of time off. You have the winter break, you have summer, so you were allowed to meet more than quarterly, if I recall correctly. If you can look at the minutes from back when we discussed this, that was the only board that we were allowing to meet more than quarterly. So I'm not sure if the information got funneled to you all or not, but I remember talking about that. What I'm hearing here is we're all in agreement with everything that's being said. The only issue here is whether we want to do special meeting, or do we want to do it as just a regular agenda item? That's what I'm hearing. Correct me if I'm incorrect on that.
Yes.
So,
Well, I entertain a motion. Somebody make a motion either for a workshop meeting or an agenda item.
I make a motion that we have a workshop meeting, the city council have a workshop meeting, including city staff, and invite the board members to help us get an idea of the value of the boards, what boards are in existence right now that should remain, and what new boards we may need, and which boards may need to be eliminated.
I second that.
For discussion? Okay, I have one question. Are you going to interview your board members before, are you going to interview your board members and reappoint board members before we have this workshop meeting?
No, that's not my intent.
Okay, your intent is to keep.
And my intent would be, instead of interviewing the board members, if we set up the workshop, that we invite the board members to the workshops, perhaps allocate, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes per board for them to give us a brief presentation of, how their board is, how it's functioning, their input.
And you?
I agree.
You're going to do the same type of thing?
Yes. That's why I have not approached any of the people who represent C3 on the boards.
And I think we can also, the boards that are required, I imagine there's some boards that are right, that we don't even have to review those. I mean, if they're required and they just come into place exactly when something is necessary, that's fine. I'm talking more about educational advisory, ecology board, the parks boards. There's a whole bunch of other boards that I think should be very valuable to us if they're in existence, but they apparently aren't. They're not working, and that's not the fault of the boards themselves or the residents on the boards. It just seems to be a disconnect with how what the process is right now for them to get information to us, or even for them to meet.
Just for clarification, would you like all the board members or just
All right,
the
I'm
chairman
going
of
to
the
go
board?
I think we could go with the chair.
I think we're going to go, we can make the decision. I think that we need to have, before we make the decision, in my opinion, before we make the decision, I think that we have to get a presentation from you can't talk to them both at the same time, but an idea of what the workshop meeting is going to be entailed, so that we make progress on what we're going to do. If we're going to talk right now and have a meeting on the a workshop meeting on it, and we're going to go ahead and have boards that are eliminated, I think that should be eliminated before we start, so that we could go ahead and save time and go forward with what we need. I kind of feel like if we just decide to have a workshop meeting right now, I don't think we have any guidance on how we're going to approach this.
Mayor, I don't see how we could eliminate a board without having input from the board chair as to
I think that part of it, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I need the board member to tell me whether whether we have to make the decision on that board or not. I think we got to do some research what the board has accomplished in the first place and what they've done to go forward. I don't know. There's not enough information. Otherwise, I don't know. That's how
I think what we may have to consider, though, is that in speaking to some of the residents, they feel that the reason they're not meeting is because they were told not to meet.
That was never the case.
Right,
they always had the opportunity to bring up. They always had an opportunity to bring up something that they wouldn't want to go ahead and put on the agenda.
Nevertheless,
besides council telling them what to put on it.
Nevertheless, if that's their impression, then I think it's incumbent upon us, before we eliminate a board, to listen to their summary of how effective the board's been and their recommendations as to whether how it could be improved or whether it's even necessary.
What can we do in a workshop that we can't do in a regular council meeting, in a regular meeting?
I don't know how much knowledge we all have about those boards. Let's start there. And second, I think we're missing a point here. We're missing in terms of the residents of Miami Springs, and what boards do they want and do they not want.
I don't think in a regular meeting we could decide if there's some new boards that the city, it's been 30, 40 years that we've had these boards in place. It may be wise for us to start some new boards to tackle some new issues like the annexation, things like this. And I don't know that we could do this here and this, just raise a board
Can we do
an issue without.
I think that
Can we do that?
Maria, I think that Councilwoman Mitchell, I think that in the past the way that's worked, and you might be aware of this, is that if there was an incumbent issue, an ad hoc board was created, and it had a sunrise and sunset provision to it, whereas it performed its function, advised us accordingly, and then it went away. That's how it was handled in the past. But these boards that were used for this purpose were not kept on, you know, as something that would happen every month. So that's how we've always handled it before, and it's been quite successful. I know when we were doing the thing with the renaming of the tagline of the city and all that, when Councilwoman Ator was on the council with us, we created a special ad hoc board for that, and that was quite successful.
And that's
kind of
probably,
thing.
you know, and that's probably the appropriate means to handle something like annexation. So annexation's not a good example.
Sure.
Can we ask the city attorney? What is he?
I think it's just a matter of preference, and please pardon my voice, I'm under the weather. It's just a matter of preference with regards to how long you think the item's going to take, the amount of input that you'd like to garner, whether this is the appropriate venue or you think another venue would suit. It's really a matter of discretion. The workshop is just a place to build consensus on an item and then bring it back to a city council meeting for final, or at least some sort of action, not final action. It's up to you all. The city has had workshops here. They've had workshops at other locations. They've also handled issues like this during regular council meetings and special council meetings. So it's up to you.
Well, there seems to be a pretty good consensus to want to do this. I don't know about a consensus, but interest to want to do this up here.
Right.
So I'm willing to go along with that, I think.
I'd like to table the decision till next meeting. I'd like to go into the city to manager and do my research and work, or let's put another better way. What is your timetable for this workshop meeting? When you think you want it? How much is it going to take you to be educated enough to have a nice presentation at the workshop meeting and try to correspond the different boards to get here and come here?
I would think probably in 2 weeks we should be able. I can't imagine in a week we can ask the board members to, you know, to be here within a week, but within 2 weeks I think it's reasonable to ask them to have either themselves or a representative at our workshop. I really do think the workshop is a more effective way than doing this than sitting here at the city council. That's my whole.
Necessarily against that,
but that's my whole suggestion for the workshop.
With the workshop, though, I want to, you know, when we do these kind of things, we want to have a legitimate agenda on how we're going to go about and do it. You know, like you have agendas created here. I want to know what your setup going to be. Boards talk first, or history on boards. You understand? That's what I want to get set up with it, and I don't know if there's enough time within a week. I want to know what you think. I think it's going to take staff a little bit more time than 2 weeks to get all this stuff set up to go. That's what I'm trying to say. So, you know, I want it to be structured.
Let's plan for June then, I think in a month. What I'd like to suggest is that the city manager prepare a list of all the boards that are mandatory, that, you know, say compensation boards that we must have, and just take those off the table. And then the other boards that are not required.
What's a good date in June, Erica?
Well, we have council meetings June 12th and the 26th.
What's a good date in between? What's a good date in between them two meetings?
The 19th would be the in-between Monday.
It's Monday the 19th, June 19th. Would you amend your motion to June 19th?
Sounds good. Yes.
Mayor, if I might, my recommendation would be to, at that meeting or that workshop, to sunshine the meeting for all board members and the council. Since the boards don't meet that frequently,
good point.
They may not be. If they met every month and they could come up with a position as a board that the chairperson would relay to the council, that's one thing. But if they're not meeting regularly, then they may feel compelled to somehow relay information to each other. And so if they want to come and voice their opinion, that way they all have the opportunity to do so.
So it would have to be on an individual basis, not through their board.
I mean, unless all the boards are going to meet in May and sort of come up with a position that they want to relay to the council, which is unlikely to happen, it's better just to say, we're going to discuss all the boards. You're all board members are welcome to come and give your opinion. And that way there's no emailing back and forth. Even if they relay it to the city council, to the clerk, I should say, it's better just to give them the opportunity to come before you.
Okay.
Okay, and I'd like to,
I'm sorry. Go on.
no, to perhaps limit each board to say maybe a 10-minute presentation, so that, you know, whoever's representing the board, so that just they give us a summary of what the board has done to date, what their input is, how they feel the board should go forward. It doesn't need to, or perhaps suggestions for, how the board could be changed into a new board.
I'll have time to have that set up.
Let me get with Juan and Erica tomorrow because I have the listing of the boards, and one of the problems I'm seeing right now, a lot of these boards that haven't met, the terms of their members have expired already. A lot of them. And for example, the Educational Advisory Board has 2 vacant seats that haven't been filled. So that's going to be an issue that we're going to have to take up. And
Yeah, quorum has historically been a very difficult thing.
And
So if you have 1 vacancy, 2 vacancies, if one person misses, you don't have quorum.
And that's why I asked earlier about if you guys, because she was on the board, now she's not on the board. So that's why I thought it was a good idea for you to research who's on the board and serving for you, so that you understand that if you have this meeting, you have somebody at that board that's representing somewhat of what your thoughts are.
Well, we'll invite them to be there. If there's no one if no one shows up to represent the board, then we know that nobody showed up, and we'll have to make our own judgment. But we can certainly invite the boards to be at this meeting and give us a summary of their board.
We got a motion to do it. We have the sunshine situation that has to be expressed in the motion.
Mayor.
No? Okay.
Mayor.
So we have the 19th.
I suggest also we invite the folks that might have new ideas of new boards to come out and do their presentation.
Okay. All right, the 19th of June. We'll
At the same time at 7 p.m.?
It's at 7 o'clock, and we'll try to have a slam-up agenda for how we can structure it. Call the vote.
What are we doing? We're setting up the...
You're scheduling a workshop to discuss advisory boards on June 19th at 7 p.m. The Monday.
So it's going to be before a council meeting?
Before, it's the Monday before the last meeting in June. Okay. Vice Mayor Best?
Aye.
Councilman Mitchell?
Yes.
Councilman Zapata?
Yes.
Councilman Petrolanda?
Yes.
Mayor Bain?
I'll say yes.
Thank you.
Okay, that's it. I wanted to create something here. I was going to do it on my own, but I thought I'd do it with council's idea here. It's something to put on the agenda for next meeting. And for instance, like, well, let the closing remarks go first. Anything from the city attorney?
Just the tip of the hat to Tom and the folks at the River Cities. It was a pleasure to be out there. My kids loved it. I thought, the rain notwithstanding, it was a great event.
City manager?
Nothing, Mayor, just quickly, we're working with Miami-Dade County to have a presentation here in Chambers for mosquito control. They're going around to different municipalities doing the presentation, so we're working with them now. We're looking at sometime in June. So once I get the final date and all that, I'll let you know, and we'll start advertising it so that the residents can know. That's all
Let's
I have.
see. Who did I start with last time? Well, we'll go seat. I'll go like this. Seat 1. Councilman, that's anything from you?
Is that me?
That's you, Vice Mayor.
Yeah, one thing relative to that last vote that we just ran. Could we ask? I think this is fair, for a list of all the boards and members and ins and outs, Erica. That would be very helpful to all 5 of us, I'm sure, to date. Yeah. I'll reiterate what was just said about the River Cities Festival. It's probably one of the best attended River Cities festivals I've seen, Friday and Saturday. To Mr. Curtis's credit and the festival committee. Unfortunately, we had somewhat of a bad day on Friday, and that's Sunday. Sorry, yeah, Friday was a good day. Unfortunately, it was what it was, and I think the correct decision was made. To do what had to be done mid-afternoon, so I just wanted to state that publicly. I happened to read in some of our correspondence over the last week or so about an issue that the Councilman Mitchell had addressed regarding the TDT, and I thought it was very interesting that she did that, because this has always been a very contentious issue. We're talking about the bed tax with the county. And I saw some of the back and forth between the city manager and Councilwoman Mitchell, and I pretty well understand. I mean, I get it. The reason that we don't kind of weigh in on this, and there's only a couple that do, and those that don't, there's 3 others that are grandfathered. This I understand. But I also liked the take that she had made relative to perhaps discussing this and the opinions of surrounding communities in our area, because with numbers is power. And if you go at them as one city, you're probably not going to get anywhere. If you go at them 6 or 7 cities and say, hey, what's the story here? I think you get the retention a little more. I don't know how, in fact, that could be pursued, but I kind of like the idea, and I just want to throw it out for consideration going down the road. But I liked it, and I commend her for bringing that up. And thirdly and finally, we'll have the Pelican Playhouse production coming up here the first 2 weeks in May. They're doing the Iliad and the Odyssey for the spring performance. We did it about 7 or 8 years ago. Some of you might have attended and seen it. It was the last time that we performed in the Cavalier Annex. So this will be in this annex, this theater proper, and it's quite a show. So if you get the opportunity to come out and see it, I don't think you'll be disappointed. Have a great week. Thank you.
Councilman Mitchell?
Just wanted to say I'm sorry that I missed the River Cities Festival. I had to be out of town this weekend, but I know it's such an important event for our community. I remember the first time we came to Miami Springs in '85, it happened to be River Cities that we were driving through looking for homes, so it's always stayed in my mind. What a great event that is. As far as Councilman Best's comment on the bed tax, I do agree. I think that when the bed tax issue, when the Florida statute was put into place, was a long time ago, and we had fewer hotels here, and also we didn't have the big range in prices in hotels that we do now. We have some really nice hotels that, you know, charge quite a bit in occupancy. I think that we can pursue it with other municipalities. In particular, Doral is in a very similar situation to us, that when this was occurred initially, they didn't have that many hotels now, and now they have an abundance of hotels in their property. And the last thing I just wanted to mention is I do have a meeting with Commissioner Sosa this week to ask for her guidance on how our community can pursue this to pursue the hotel bed tax.
Thank you. Councilwoman Zapata?
Don't have much to say except that I'm sure I gained weight at the River Cities Festival. And I think that it was awesome that we had an opening, a band that was local, and they were really so talented. I think that we should make that a practice to include as many of our local as possible. So,
Councilman Petrolaga?
I just want to echo everyone and congratulate Tom for a great event. The only disappointment I have, you didn't pray or you didn't schedule better weather, but other than that, everything went well. Thank you, Tom. That's all I have, Mayor.
I want to thank our beautiful Public Works who cleaned that place up. When you went around the circle today, you came home, and I'll tell you what, it looks like there wasn't even an event. And
that's right.
And I think
yeah, they did.
I think that's the
Billy, all three mornings too. You go out there 8 o'clock.
Till the whole time the place was clean as, and the idea of renting them vehicles to help pick up all the garbage, I give them all the kudos in the world for what they did. That was pretty fantastic. And the event is, you know, Tom Curtis really, he just hangs around and takes complaints. I mean, really, the event is what it is, and it's the people that
He did so well,
come.
he's going to ask for less money.
Yeah, I heard. Thanks a lot for taking my, that was my punchline. Golly, man. Okay, there's something I'm committed to up here this time. First of all, I think it is. You never can turn anything down. The ideas should always be expressed and go forward with. I mean, I have my reservations about the workshop, thing, but I'm open. I'll go. We'll do what we can. But I think my main concern is that we're not going to go in circles. Why I express what I express is because I've sat on councils where all you do is talk, and I kind of want to be there and have the meeting structured so we can make a decision or get very close to it. That's my biggest concern. One of the things that I wanted to bring up in this time sitting up here, is that people that come up to speak on the microphone and make comments or ask questions, I wanted to put some kind of a situation, and I didn't talk to the attorney about this, but an agenda line to answer the questions or give comments on situations that were said on the podium, so that people get their answers to the next council meeting if the research can be done. And I almost feel like it doesn't have to always come from me. In other words, the last meeting there was a couple statements like that we're in debt and so on. And what I wanted to bring up was, yes, the debt service is what it's called, and we're debt service of $7 million. Correct me if I say anything wrong, and it's 1% of the budget. I think that we should state that. Another thing that was stated the other night was that in the 2014 contract with the police department, that we were losing people to other departments. And the research that I got back is we lost 3 people, but 1 came back. I think there might be a misnomer that there are about 12 of them that left in a drop, or 10, or whatever the case may be, left in a drop. But as far as people leaving the department because of the contract, I think that was misleading to the public to state. So I want to state that 3 left and 1 came back. So we didn't lose a lot because of the contract. We lost a couple. And rumor to be told after the River Cities, because River Cities, a lot of stuff comes out of people because they're having such a good time and they're loose and everything. And rumor has a lot of them other couple guys might even want to come back too. So, I just wanted that to be stated and known. And then I don't know what the third one was, the contract. So what I'd like to do is put a line item after I don't want any confrontation on I don't want a conversation on the open forum.
Can't.
But I want to put a line item, agenda line item after open forum to state something like in response to or in answer to, you can do the verbiage for me, of the last meeting open forum, so we can either give answers, because people come out to ask questions, maybe we have the answers publicly for them, besides internally, so all residents can know. And if anything stated that is incorrect, we can state it. But no negotiation. I don't want no negotiation. We're just going to state it out, and then and go like that. So I would hope that you guys would, in consensus, agree to that.
Yeah. Bill, can
Mayor, I would like to suggest also that at the beginning of each open forum that the city clerk or the city manager read a very brief statement letting the residents know that the open forum is for them to bring up issues, but that we won't respond.
Right.
So that they don't feel like they just brought it up and it's just kind of hanging there, that they understand that,
Right.
and it can be just a brief paragraph or so explaining to them at each beginning of each open forum the purpose of the open forum and what will happen.
Yeah. I know that we all have had the chance. Bill, sorry for taking your time here, but just briefly. The manager, the 3 items that we just discussed, the one we didn't discuss had to do with church and state was the third one.
Right, that was the third one. That was the
I'm
third
talking about William's response to each of these 3 issues that the mayor just talked about. The city manager responded in great detail in writing, and we all have copies of that, and how he responded. He responded correctly and appropriately. I don't know if what was just suggested has something to do with maybe allowing that type of thing to occur. Like, I don't know if it occurs the day later, goes out on the net of the city or whatever, but when something is totally not accurate, and we got to sit up here quiet about it, well, the manager can respond, but he responds in later. So,
okay.
But that was an excellent response, and I applaud him for that, because it was spot on. Particularly the third item, which you weren't sure what it was about, but I think it might have something to do with the prayer I said or something.
See, that's what I mean. I'd like to get the credit for that, because I asked him to do that.
Well, he did it. Okay, you can take it. I just wanted the folks to know that this was done, and certainly to my satisfaction, and I hope to my colleagues as well.
No, I want to make. No, I think I don't want to go through like the last 2 years.
No,
I really don't.
That was
And I don't want the new people sitting up here to have some kind of defense and be cordial and everything, so that then you go and talk to people, and shoot, I don't know how many people come up to me and says, so we're still developing the golf course. That's still out there.
Oh, I know.
I know. And so
I heard it at the festival.
I believe as elected officials, got to put the truth out to them. I'm not talking about opinion. You guys can have whatever opinions you have, but we got to put the truth out there.
No, William spoke the truth in all 3 responses. So.
All righty, that's all I have. Great meeting. Can't wait for the workshop meeting. I'm jumping on air.
Yes,
Wait. I'm gonna work with William.